want to unlock a faster, more effective way to learn English, right? Maybe something a bit more engaging than textbooks.
That's exactly what we're exploring today. We're doing a deep dive into how podcasts can be this surprisingly powerful tool for really accelerating your English skills.
Right.
We've been digging into this piece, Learn English Fast, the power of podcasts. And honestly, it's packed with ideas about how audio can genuinely, change the game for learners.
It really sounds like it. So our mission today in this deep dive is to get specific. How exactly can you leverage podcasts to really boost your learning?
Let's uncover those strategies.
Okay, let's unpack this first. Why are podcasts so good for learning English? It's got to be more than just background noise.
Oh, absolutely. It's multi-layered. The source we looked at really hammers home this idea of real-world exposure.
Real-world exposure, meaning?
Meaning you're not just hearing perfectly enunciated sentences from a textbook. You get native speakers talking naturally, diverse accents, slang they actually use, the rhythm, the interruptions, the whole conversational flow. It's authentic.
So it's like getting comprehensible input, but much more dynamic.
Exactly. Comprehensible, yes, but also just real. It's a huge leap from the sometimes sterile language you find in learning materials.
Right, language in the wild, almost. And the source mentioned immersion, too. How does that play into it? It's not just passive listening, is it?
No, not at all. And this ties into the bigger picture of language acquisition. Consistency is everything.
Yeah.
The big win with podcasts, as the source points out, is just how convenient they are. You can weave English listening into your life so easily.
Like when you're commuting.
Commuting, cooking, cleaning, working out, just relaxing. You essentially build this mini English-speaking world around you.
Without packing your bags and moving somewhere.
Precisely. You create that environment yourself.
That makes a ton of sense. It's like a portable language lab. Okay, so we get why they work, but let's get practical. How do we actually use them to learn faster? The source had some actionable tips, didn't it?
It did. Yeah, very practical stuff. And the first step is about being smart with your choices. Start with podcasts made for learners.
Okay, not jumping into advanced political commentary right away.
Probably not ideal, no. The source specifically names the English We Speak and ESL Pod as great starting points.
Why those specifically?
Well, according to the text, they tend to have clearer speech, maybe a slightly slower pace sometimes. Plus, they often explain tricky words or grammar points directly.
That sounds perfect for easing in, takes the pressure off. Okay, so find beginner-friendly stuff first. Then the source talked about listening daily. Seems simple.
Simple, but crucial. The emphasis is on consistency. It's not about, marathon listening sessions once a week.
Right.
The source actually suggests that even 10 or 15 minutes every day is way more effective long-term than, say, an hour every Saturday.
Okay, interesting. Why is that?
It aligns with how our brains work, really. Regular spaced exposure helps things stick. You reinforce the learning constantly.
And you can fit that into existing habits, right? Like you said, commuting, chores.
Exactly. Tag it onto something you already do. Makes it way easier to maintain the habit.
Small, consistent steps.
Got it. Okay, next up. Transcripts. Some podcasts offer them. Are they actually useful or just extra reading?
Oh, hugely useful. Think about it. You're hearing the words and seeing them at the same time.
Multisensory learning.
Pretty much. The source highlights how this really helps nail down pronunciation. You connect the sound to the spelling visually.
I can see that.
And it boosts vocabulary retention, too. Engaging both your ears and eyes makes the new words much more memorable. That dual coding really works.
Makes perfect sense. A visual anchor for the audio. Okay, what about, say you find an episode you really like or one that was super helpful. Do you just move on?
Good question. The source brings up repetition here. Don't underestimate its power.
So re-listening is actually a good strategy. Definitely. When you listen again, you catch things you missed the first time, maybe a nuance, a specific word, the way something was phrased.
Right, you pick up more details.
Yeah, it reinforces what you learned and just deepens your understanding. It's like rereading a complex paragraph to really get it.
Okay, note to self, don't just consume, revisit. Now, this last technique sounds active. Shadowing. What's that all about?
Right, shadowing. It's basically active mimicry. You listen to the podcast host and try to repeat what they say as they say it.
At the same time. Wow.
Yeah, or immediately after. You try to copy their pronunciation, their intonation, the rhythm, everything.
That sounds potentially awkward.
The source admits it could feel weird at first, and it probably will.
Okay, good to know.
But the payoff, long-term, is huge for developing more natural-sounding speech. You're literally training your mouth muscles in your ear to work together in a new language.
Okay. Training the physical act of speaking. I can see the potential benefit there, even if it feels strange initially. So, specific podcast recommendations. The source gave some, right? Always helpful to have starting points.
Yes, definitely. And they're framed as really solid launch pads. The English We Speak, that's from BBC Learning English, is mentioned.
What's the focus there?
It's great for beginners and intermediates, apparently. Short lessons focusing on common everyday phrases and expressions, really practical stuff.
Nice. And ESL Pod.
Yeah, ESL Pod gets a mention too. The source notes it uses dialogues, but then breaks down the vocab, grammar, even cultural bits. So it sounds quite comprehensive, especially for beginners.
Those sound like excellent foundational resources. Any others highlighted?
Yes. For tackling more casual conversational English, the kind you hear between friends, All Ears English was recommended.
Okay, for more natural, less formal language.
Exactly. And then The Fluent Show was mentioned as well, which seems a bit broader interviews and tips about language learning strategies in general, not just English-specific content, perhaps. Gotcha.
So it's not like the only podcast out there, obviously, but a really good selection to get you started exploring.
Fantastic. That's super helpful.
Good.
Okay, so let's try and tie this all together. If you had to boil it down, what's the key takeaway from this deep dive on using podcasts?
I think the absolute core message threaded through the source material is about consistency and integration. Making podcasts a regular part of your daily life.
Right.
That's what makes learning English feel less like a chore and more accessible. You create those learning moments constantly.
It's about weaving it in, not just blocking out huge SETI times. And it seems like this works whether you're a total beginner or someone just wanting to polish their skills, yeah?
Precisely. It's adaptable. And the source wraps up with a really encouraging thought, something like, you don't need a classroom, just your ears, your time, and a mindset that says, I can do this.
I love that. It puts the power right back in your hands.
It really does. It emphasizes how doable this approach is. Okay, so to leave you with something to chew on, a final thought to get you going. Listening to all this, thinking about those recommendations, the English We Speak, ESL Pod, All Ears English, which one kind of piques your interest right now?
Maybe one jumps out based on your current level or goals.
Yeah, maybe you want those quick phrases or maybe the deeper dialogues. Whichever it is, why not just check one out today? Find it, hit play. Remember, fluency isn't a destination you suddenly arrive at.
It's a journey.
It's a continuous process of discovery. And who knows, your next big breakthrough in English could literally be just one podcast episode away.